Hello everyone, my name is TheMadScorpyon, and welcome back to another week of Destiny 2 Into the Light. Now, I just wanted to preface this reset update by starting off with, of course, with Into the Light, another week has come by, which means there is more quests available at our site 99-40. Of course, the weapons included this week are probably some of the ones that people are going to flock to most, being the Midnight Coup and the Mountaintop. Now, those two are, of course, old classics, but the quest is available. They will start dropping. You can attune for them and grind them out if you want. Of course, there will be more in the future, but pretty much that is all I wanted to cover in terms of Into the Light. Now, when you do spawn in today, you will notice that there is a both double rewards and double rank booster for Vanguard operations. So, if you actually wanted to grind out Zavala, whether it's to gain resources, just do ranks, or do whatever, this is a good time to actually play out either Nightfalls or just regular strikes. And speaking of Nightfalls, the current weapon available is the Warden's Law Adept, which does have some god rolls that can affect PvE. Personal favorite would be something like 4 times the charm Vorpal, if I recall. And then for Crucible, something like Snapshot Kill Clip, just because the kill clip on this thing is allegedly busted. But from that point, the current Nightfall this week, if you are willing to grind it out, is on Neomuna and is the Hypernet current. Now, obviously, I'm sure some of y'all seen the clips of the, what's the word? The new Sparrow that got introduced, Strider? I forget what it's called, but that new skateboard Sparrow, being able to skip some sections. This isn't a really hard Nightfall. I would say it is a little bit more of a challenge for those not used to GMs. But for the regular team, I'd say this is one manageable as long as you remember to keep to cover, and obviously just to deal with the variety of Taken that you find in there. And speaking of Taken, you'll have all 3 elemental shields, Overload, and Unstoppable champions. Incoming arc threat is buffed, so keep in mind out for most of Taken is arc, if I recall. Grandmaster modifiers as usual for Extinguish, Limited Revives, Epitaph for when anything is defeated, it will spawn a Blight Geyser, and Chaff for no radar, as always. Then we have the usual seasonal overcharge stuffs, as well as Stasis and Solar Surge and overcharge grenade launchers. Maybe bring a Mountaintop, who knows. But aside from that, that is that for Vanguard stuff. Nothing new in Gambit, and for Crucible, we do have Team Scorch for our rotation playlist, which it's hard to tell if we're going to get this back, and as usual, there is a challenge in the weekly, so make sure to complete that just for the sake of completing it. And as well, Checkmate Survival, Clash 3v3 Quick Play, and Rumble and regular control all over the Crucible Zone. Then getting into seasonal stuff, of course, I believe there is another, or possibly another quest for Whisper the Worm. I'm not 100% sure if it was week by week. I didn't go hard on finishing Whisper the Worm, so there could be another week of Catalyst quest grind. Just keep an eye out for that. But then into everything else, like I said, with Into the Light, it does have Onslaught Pentacles that have officially reset, or Onslaught Powerfuls, but I don't think there is much more else coming from there, aside from maybe a rotation of modifiers, being that it is Void Threat with Solar and Strand Surge currently, but that is pretty much it. But from that point, we still have the Whisper for our weekly exotic mission, but then into the main bits of everything. We do have Vox Obscura for our weekly farming mission, but then for Crota's Aid, it is Equal Vessels, which is 3rd encounter challenge, aka, what's her name? I completely am forgetting her name. Your Ute. That one. But then, speaking of which, the farming dungeon is Ghost of the Deep, one of the hardest ones to get any will to even do, which of course is Master Mode, Artifice Armor. You can do it infinite times if you want access to the Navigator or any of the nifty guns from the inside, but from that point, you don't have much else of a reason to go into that dungeon. And as well, the weekly farming raid is currently Root of Nightmares, I believe. Yes, Root of Nightmares, which of course, as always, all 4 challenges are active, as well as Master Mode Return in case you want an Adept from Root of Nightmares before Pantheon, as well as Disciple or Discipline Focused Armor and Disciple. Bleh. And for the usual Stasis and Solar Surge, Overcharge Shotgun, and the usual arraignment of enemy density in there. While we're on Neomuna, we have a Hymns Apart for the weekly incursion zone, which is the annoying partition and comparative, and the weekly mission is Desperate Measures, which again I keep forgetting which stage of the end of the world that is. But from that point, getting into seasonal stuff, I believe never mind. I forgot that I'm no longer covering the coil because it's pretty much the same things every other time. And for Dares of Eternity on Legend Mode, it is currently taking Cabal and Zydron for Disciples of the Nay. And just darting about through everything that offers red border challenge modes in case you are interested in farming. We have Forever Fight for the Last Wish raid. Then skipping the moon on that one. Let's see, just going throughout the world. Savathun's Throne World and Vow of the Disciple, we have Swift Destruction, which is first encounter challenge. More red borders from there. On Europa, for the Deepstone Crypt, we currently have the Of All Trades challenge, a first encounter challenge. Frankly, though, if you just want red borders, this one is one you can skip, just because it's an annoying one to get done. Then, for King's Fall raid, currently active is Gaze Amaze, which is Golgoroth challenge. Not too hard, and of course, obviously, red borders from that. And I believe I have gotten everything I can think of that drops red borders for raids. And knocking into everything else for the Eververse stock, which is probably the thing most people watch these videos for anyway. So on the front page, we have a nifty shader, the Sinking Feeling, one of the live shaders that makes it look very electric. Came back during Season 19. Pretty nifty one. Does look a little bit better on weapons. Maybe not the brave weapons, but, you know, still solid. And we also have Abyssinian Gold, which is one of those classic dark and dirt shaders. As well, the Subjugator entrance, which I believe this is supposed to... Well, actually, I think in the season it's from... was this post-Nightfall? I keep forgetting. No, it's pre-Nightfall, actually, come to think of it. Actually, no, this would be Rolk. I think that's the Rolk entrance. That took much too long. But then we also have a ornament for the Messenger? Oh, Imperial Decree. Wrong name. But yeah, pretty solid ornament for it. It makes it a little bit more simplified in case you're looking for a different look for that shotgun from Season of the Risen, Reborn. And we also have the Master Chef, which is, of course, as you can imagine, just one of those emotes where you're making some food. I forget which one it makes, though, or if it actually takes forever. Is it just pancakes? Well, actually, let's actually watch this through, see what becomes of it. Oh, okay, you don't actually make anything. You just splat an egg on your head. Then into the main store, we have Deep Sea Jaunt, which is one of those ones that is very fitting. It is basically just a hard steel carbon fiber look and real deep sea. However, it just doesn't really match on anything, really. And we also have Golden Age wine, similarly so. A nice dark purple and just yellowish gold look. Very callous without actually being callous. And a Radiant Caradite, which is supposedly... I don't know if it's a lot, judging from the text on the shader. I think it says textures change or move over time, but this honestly just looks like one of those, makes it look like it's made of a different material color because it looks very crystalline. And we also have Springtide Feint, which is one of those ones that people wear to hurt people's eyes. Then for transmats, we have Reef Shimmer, which is just, you know, more of the casual effects. I accidentally clicked away and it's not going to load now. Watch, it's going to do that. Moving on, we have Signal Processed, which is from Black Armory. I guess none of them are going to load for a minute because Destiny is having one of those moments where it has dementia. And we also have the Harpy entrance, which, if you could believe it, off of the picture right here, it is basically just dropping in on a Gorgon and it going smash. Then for our emote, we have Steepled Stare, which is one of those ones where you just kind of sit in a chair and just look forward and look. I guess it's supposed to be you paying attention in class, if not just staring at somebody for staring. Then for an ornament, we have the Season of the Dawn ornament set, which is the chest plate across all characters. If you are interested in picking up any of the ones, again, from Season of the Dawn. Personally, I'm not exactly, but, you know, it's probably never coming back, so get it while you can. At least if you want it for Bright Dust. And from Season of the Risen, we have Bel Air Shell, which I suppose this is supposed to be like a... I forget if it's Pontiac Bel Air or Chevy. I honestly forget which Cadillac Bel Air. It's supposed to be after an old classic car. And speaking of classic car, we have the Halcyon Corvette, which is one of those ships that just looks like it's an actual like astronaut leaving orbit ship from the early days of space travel. And we also have Open Sky Tourer, which is for the Sparrow, which is one of those ones again meant to look like old cars. Lots of references. And for a big ticket item, we have Internal Combustion, which is an ornament for the Lament, which of course gives it a nice seafoam green look, not to mention just making it a little bit more metal in its design of a chainsaw sword already being metal. And of course, as always, the last thing, least worth anything, is the Riven Projection. As the usual ghost projection of the week is, once again, just not really worth it. Then checking with Banshe, seeing what goodies he has for the week. On the front page, we have Lunalata, something I've talked about a lot because it seems to never leave the store. A stasis lightweight bow, viced in origin. It's not too shabby, especially when you get something like Headstone, although being lightweight, even though recently buffed, still lighter compared to most bows. And we also have Cartesian Coordinate, which the combination of lead from gold and Vorpal is one of the ways you can get a solid, outdated, but still pretty good DPS weapon in this day and age. Because it is one of the only fusion rifles that can get Vorpal that I think actually makes a difference, not to mention scopes. And we also have Annual Skate, a old and again outdated hand cannon, which is, although outdated, still solid for PvP if you actually manage to get a good roll on it. All solid adaptive frame pulse rifle. And then both of these weapons, I'll just say, they are craftable, so they are nifty, although they are outshadowed by almost everything else, as these were some of the first craftables. Nifty in their time, but I would recommend getting something much better, especially better than these rolls, mostly. And to wrap up the flares, we have Cinder Char from Season of Opulence, which looks cindered and looks a bit charred, and the Echoes of Io, which is one of those ones that makes you look like you are trying to blend in with one of the old planets of Destiny's vaulted space, and War Cult Rain, which is one of those looks that makes you look like you want to rep the future War Cult, which doesn't look half bad, I'm not gonna lie. I wish it was a little shinier, but then the red kind of throws it off right here. But with that has been the reset update. Like I said, with Into the Light, of course, we got a little bit more on the list. I don't know if anything activity-wise released today. Off the top of my head, I know I've released a video on the schedule of when things will be up and coming. I just know in 2 weeks we'll have Pantheon, and sometime after that we'll have 0 Hour. I just don't think we'll be getting anything else other than the additional map packs, just to, you know, keep it in line. With that, my name is TheMadScorpyon. I will see you in the next video.